beer reviews. Now, as I said, the season is all about trying new styles and experiencing different beers. It's kind of developing my palate, and also sharing the experience with you guys. So I wanted to start with a seasonal beer, seasonal style in fact, and it's October right now, so it's very appropriate. It's going to be an Oktoberfest Märzen beer. I brought this from New York because I couldn't find this in Canada, and this is the Paulaner Oktoberfest Märzen Amber. So this is an American version, but it's still, I was able to find this in a big half-liter bottle, or as the Americans would probably say, 1 pint and 9 fluid ounces, and it's 5.8% ABV. So let's talk about the style a little bit. As I say, I want to give you more information about the style, so we'll talk about the style of this beer. Okay, so a little information about the style of this beer. So Oktoberfest beers are Märzens, or in German it pronounces something like Märzen, are said to be originating from the 16th century in Bavaria, Germany, as many styles of German beer. They had a real problem with preserving the beer, and there's no real way to refrigerate it, and it was prone to bacteria, especially during the hot summer months. So they kind of developed this style, which is a bit slightly stronger in alcohol than your typical lager, let's say, and it had a different combination of hops and malts. It was slightly different. It was dark kind of copper color too, or maybe sometimes red, and so it definitely hopped. And this way they could preserve this in stone kind of cellars and cells throughout the summer, usually underneath the hills. And with time, kind of became associated with the Oktoberfest festival. And so now this beer is enjoyed in large quantities in Bavaria each year. Even considering this particular Paulaner version, they drink millions of liters, or even kegs, I'm not sure, but they drink loads of this beer each year, and that's just one brewery that makes it. Right, so now we know a little bit about the style specifics. In terms of flavour, it's supposed to have a little toasty kind of character, with some gentle, mild hops and a pretty strong malty base profile. Let's examine the bottle a little bit. It has the golden version of the cap, because sometimes it comes in the white one. The back label doesn't have any information. It just says each one of our Paulaner beers is brewed slowly or naturally, as they have been for over 370 years, and has the government warning. For all the beers in the States, I've noticed they have these warnings from the Surgeon General, something about the pregnant women and stuff like that. So 5.8% ABV, as I've said, and this is a classic Bavarian beer. I've never actually had an Oktoberfest in a bottle. I've only had it on tap 2 times, but not this particular version, just different ones. And I kind of like the style, so let's open it up and review it. So I'm going to be using my generic kind of mug, because I don't have a proper Stein or a dimpled mug, but that should do just fine. This is a bit expensive, found about $4 in Whole Foods Market in Manhattan. And there we have it. A nice carbonated copper color body, so kind of light brown, medium brown to red, very full of bubbles. The head is it's kind of frothy. It's not very creamy, but it's very nice so far. Just off-white, nothing different in color. Very strong kind of lager smell, like a typical Bavarian style lager, but also you definitely get that toasty touch to it. And it's sweet, I think. We have a caramel kind of candy aroma. Nice floralness, but it's kind of mild. It's not very apparent. Well, it smells like a proper classical Oktoberfest beer. Let's give it a try. Cheers. This is slightly fuller bodied than standard lager would be, but it has a pretty strong grainy taste in it as well. Definitely sweeter than a lager. The finish is very bready and a bit sweet as well. As far as the fruity aspect, I wouldn't call this fruity, but you do get a bit of a citrus on twang. And look, the head's gone, but I wouldn't expect that, especially in these kind of mugs. These are not very good for head retention at all. Well, it's a good Paulaner beer. I've had about 3-4 other kinds of Paulaner and pretty much like them all. So if you're looking for a real Oktoberfest from Germany, this is certainly a good choice. Now, Oktoberfest are not very complex beers, don't get me wrong. That's why I'm not saying, I'm not giving you loads of tasting notes, because this is not meant to be a kind of beer to be savoured. This is a beer you can drink loads of at one time in one place. And it's very drinkable. They drink this in these huge 1 litre steins. It's pleasant, it's drinkable, and it's very well balanced. I have to say that. I give it that. As I drink more, the carbonation dropped a little, and definitely getting more toastiness and caramel notes. But I'll come back to you. We'll see what my final word will be. Alright, so I'm back shortly with the final word. As I drink more of it, I definitely got a bit of that hoppy bitterness, which kind of balances off the very sweet malts, and very, very nice beer. Also, the mouthfeel is kind of like light to medium body, closer to medium probably. As the carbonation drops, it starts becoming a bit thinner, but you still get a bit of a chewiness, I think. All in all, very tasty beer. I got, this is all I have left, but I had more than a mug, and I drank half of it in no time. It was very drinkable. As far as drinkability, it certainly performs quite well for the style. Now, I haven't had that many Märzens yet, but I certainly can say that this is a very good example of style, especially if you haven't tried any authentic German ones. This is probably a good place to start, either way. So, good beer, I've enjoyed this. Finally got this. I've been wanting to get my hands on it for a while, but I could never find it, because when I go to Europe, it's usually during summer, so it's not sold there, and it's not sold in Canada at all. So, as far as my grade will go, I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. Very good performer. Maybe a bit heavy for the style, because I remember the style, the draft version I had once. It was even more drinkable. So, I didn't have a problem with drinking this half-liter bottle, but if I had 3 of these, probably would become a bit of a challenge. So, there's a bit of room for improvement, and since I haven't had that many months, I cannot give it a 10, even if it was lighter drinkability. But nevertheless, a very good example of style, a very good Paulaner beer. 8 out of 10 for Paulaner Oktoberfest, Märzen, Amber. And that's it for the first episode of this season, and this is just the beginning, I'd say. I'll see you guys soon.